if you think that you're going to find a man, a real man, at a nightclub, girl, you are sadly mistaken. The real men don't hang out in those arenas, and they don't want anyone that hangs out in those arenas. So if this is you, and you are saying, oh, I want a good man, I need a good man, where are all the good men at? That's probably the reason why you haven't found them yet.
Manze, it's no longer safe anymore. Tumefikiwa, We have gotten to that point where men are no longer going into clubs. I thought Kenya would never see this day. And netizens or people in Kenya have a lot to say about this story, bana. Ebu check this video out. Look at the amount of women in that crowd. Show me a man. Why should be a man in that crowd? Nikubali. And the people performing on stage are actually men. The number of women in this crowd is just staggering. It's just crazy, Men no longer want to get into these situations anymore. And what might be the reason? Some people might pin it on the economy. Others might pin it on the erosion of values by women. But what do you mean erosion of values? In these settings, the erosion of value is what actually gets the man to the box. This situation was then crazy. I would really like to know why aren't men going to these clubs? Because on this article it is saying that netizens raise concerns over the growing decline of men in clubs and events in Kenya.
Nikiwaambiaga wanaume ni wajanja mtakangi kusikia. Hamtakangi kusikia. Unaona mmeachia festival zenu pekeni. Mmeachia festival zenu pekeni kwa sababu kuna better things to do. They have to build their homes. Wanataka kujenga ushago, wanataka kusave pesa za magari, wanataka kusave pesa za kubai nyumba, wanataka kusave pesa za kubai shamba, wanataka kuendeleza masomo yao. They have put the priorities first. 15,000, 20k. Na hata bado hujaspend kwa msichana mwenye unaenda kumit. Kwanza wataenda kupigania huko, mtaanza kupigania mwanamume mmoja juu wako kidogo mmeja. Uko 25 and above na mmejazana huko kwa festival, mmejazana kama inzi. Wanaume wakujia, watakuja kwa sababu they have better things to do. Wewe kaa hapo ukikunywa pombe, ukipiga sherehe, utaki ku accept age yako, utaki ku accept kwa umezeeka sasa, waachie wadogo wako wapige sherehe na banana tu na watoto, na uko 25 and above. You're supposed to be sitting down learning how to cook chapatis, learning how to make a meal for your husband, just preparing yourself to get married. Kufua hata ujui, kupika ujui, kufry chicken ujui, but uko hapo unapiga sherehe. Utaenda kwa nyumba ya nani wewe sasa? Utaenda kwa nyumba ya nani? Men are packaging themselves. No, manake nawaambia they are the prize now. They are packaging themselves to be husbands. Wanatengeneza nyumba, waweke vizuri, waweke kila kitu sawa. Ndo at least ile time wako ready to marry, they can even pay dowry. They are saving the money. Naongea mambo ya sherehe, atamuoni wanaume kwa festival. Hawatakuja. Hao watu wako na akili zao bana. Walishapiga sherehe wakiwa wadogo campus. Sasa wametulia.
Where are the men? This is a conversation that is happening right now online. I think for the last couple of days. Maybe I think yesterday. Not quite sure. But more importantly, there's a question where some of us are wondering why men no longer feel clubs, festivals, or church events. But maybe we are asking the wrong question. Men are not missing. Men are evolving. the discussion online is proof that actually something deeper is shifting. Men are quietly, and this is my opinion, men are quietly walking away from the performance culture, from chaos, from spaces that demand that they must prove themselves, that they must prove their fun, that they must prove their faith or their worth. They're not hiding, they're healing. They're learning that peace is louder than music, that purpose-led life feels better than applause, and that silence can be sacred. And yes, I know some will read this and say, you men just don't want to engage. But pause for a second. This is not withdrawal from women. It's a reunion with self. It's men choosing growth over being validated. Calm over chaos and truth over pretending. And now, to the women who may feel offended, please don't be. We don't hate women. We are just learning as men to love ourselves properly so that we can love you better. We are not ghosting society. We are grounding ourselves. And to my fellow men out there doing the work, well in. Those showing up for therapy, mentoring young brothers, learning emotional honesty, and rebuilding their lives quietly, I salute you. Keep going. You're redefining what masculinity is all about and what it means, one healing step at a time. And to the men who have not started yet, it's okay. This is your cue. Sit with yourself, face the noise inside yourself. Growth will not happen at the bar. I'm not saying you don't go to the bar. It starts in the mirror, because the boy did not vanish. The man just came home. It's a mindset thing.
Some people will say that these women parade themselves in clubs not for the Kenyan men, but for the American or men from abroad, so that they may come and spoil them. What do you think? Do you think that is out of pocket, or is that a fact that we should actually hold on to as we continue watching these clips?
Tell me why. I just read an article that says Kenyans are drugging themselves over the weekends to avoid spending money.
So whenever they are broke, there is a drug which they take on Friday and they die in quads and they resurrect on Sunday so that they don't spend any money over.
Drug ourselves to make sure the party doesn't continue. Do you know?
That form of going under and resurrecting, we have seen it in Christianity, we have seen it in our cultures when kings were actually being inaugurated into the royalship ama the leadership, where they could actually ingest some herbs, pass out for like more than 72 hours, then wake up with wisdom, wake up with conviction, wake up with resources, with mental faculties, with... Need I continue?
How sick we have to be. Like, I know Kenyans party hard, but this is too much. What do you know what? Somehow I still blame Russo, because Kenyans have been partying. Like, before colonization, we were probably like the first people to ever find alcohol, if I'm being honest. And Russo...
Wait, is she Kenyan?
Alcohol, if I'm being honest.
This chick is Kenyan. Bro, Kenya is now international. Mi mtu hawezi niambia anything. Look at this girl. Say, this girl is actually Kenyan.
And Russo, if you're watching this, do you not feel ashamed? Do you not feel ashamed that Kenyans have stopped partying? Do you know how bad the economy has to be for Kenyans to stop partying? Sit in the corner and think about what you've done. Can someone confirm or deny if they've been drugging themselves to avoid spending money? Because I honestly cannot believe this. Tell me why. I just read an article.
Whatever she's saying cannot be uncalled for. Clearly, the economy has taken a hit. And since the economy has taken a hit, most people are not going to enjoy the same things that they usually did. And the economy, yes, has taken a hit, but at the same time, there's a lot of money in the streets of Kenya. So I just think men choose to use their money differently nowadays. Like going for hiking, going for travel adventures, going at a gun range or a shooting range where they practice their skills, On the other side, there's a watchman who is situated along a club, and he is telling us the reason why he cannot go into these clubs.
Kama kawa, mimi ni soja usiku. Mnachikizo mataa mnaona huko kwa nyuma. Hope kila mtu anaona hizo mataa. Kwa nyuma yangu kuna mataa unaona zinawaka waka hivyo. Hiyo ni club iko hapo. Sasa leo ni tarehe 8. Kamshahara ishatoka. Sasa mimi sitaenda kwa hiyo club.
Ala.
Nafili kwenda lakini naona nikienda kamshahara wangu yote itaishia huko.
Ala.
So ndio kuna warembo huko, kuna pombe na kila aina za raha. Kila raha iko huko. Lakini sasa mimi nikienda huko kamshahara wangu yote itaishia wapi? Itaishia huko. So na feel kuenda hata mimi nikaburudike na wale watu wengine, lakini sasa mimi wacheni tu nisiende. Kamshahara wangu yote itaishia huko. So itakuwa ni kama nimefanya kazi ya bure. So mimi sitaenda huko. Sasa na kama kuna soja wengine wanasikiza, wana watch hii video,
it is one of either two things that is happening. Men in Kenya are either getting wise and deciding to choose the best things so that they may shape society accordingly, according to how things actually should be. Or on the other side, they might actually be slowly giving up, something known as learned helplessness. Whenever somebody realizes that they cannot change a system, they actually acquiesce to it and stop being productive. In short, they become a little bit productive to what can actually sustain them for what they actually need, their needs like food, shelter, and clothing. Other than that, they are not willing to look for incentives. And you know, men are actually incentivized by the women. Why aren't men going to seek out women in these clubs? For a majority of years, the clubbing space has been the place where most Kenyan people actually go to interact and go to try out certain things that had been prohibited in our communities. But nowadays, those things are no longer prohibited. So where are people now getting their significant other? Because if it is not the club, then where? Hapo sasa ndio kuna this other rise of other third places. I have seen people congregating in certain areas. They just talk about politics. They educate themselves around money, while sipping. Either if it's not beer, they are just sipping some mocktails or some cocktails, just enjoying an experience and learning more about our cultures. So these third spaces are the ones that I think are actually taking over the clubbing scene. And if the promoters of the clubbing scene are not Rada, kama hayuko Rada, they're going to be given a run for their money by these third places. And usually, people no longer want to congregate to these third places during the night. If it is during the night, it is around that period of 8 p.m. That is maximum, or 9 p.m. Ikienda sana 10 p.m. But they usually happen during the day, and day events are actually taking over. I don't know what you think, but that's just my take on this whole story.
Is clubbing culture dying in Kenya?
Not really. Not anytime soon. What is really dying, or rather what's making some clubs to die, is competition. A good example is along Kiambu Road. Yeah? The only club that's there that's really booming right now, it's called Habanos. Sorry to say this, but if you look at the other clubs which are next to Habanos, they're not really doing good as much. Well, they're doing good, but not good as much. So what can make a club die right now, it's competition. Given Kilimani, we have a lot of competition happening. But the club culture in Kenya ain't dying anytime soon. Sherehe. Oh my God. You know Kenyans, we love sherehe.
What's sherehe?
We love partying.
That's what that means?
Yeah.
It's a party.
Sherehe means partying. So we love partying a lot. On a Monday, on a Tuesday, a Wednesday.
Doesn't matter.
We love.
Man, the fantasy has been crushed. It looks like clubbing is not going anywhere in Kenya according to this people's ideology. Competition has gotten higher. The number of clubs in the Nairobi scene have increased. People now want to go to certain areas because of a certain vibe, and that has always been the case. You cannot just open a club and expect people to flock in it. And if you are being beaten according to vibes, then clearly your club will not have people. On the other side, we have seen vibes being created online by things like the bag, the juala. We have seen things like this, and they actually incentivize people to stay at home rather than going out in the streets to party. Another incentive that has caused people not to turn out as much as possible as those who open clubs actually thought the market would look like is the fact that these people will rather enjoy a place for themselves and not go out there where they are actually risking their lives, because we have seen that these streets at night are actually dangerous with goons, dangerous with mostly goons. If you go to this place known as Rongai, you might encounter a lion at night, a literal lion, say. Just think about it. So most people are going to stay indoors based on these ideologies.
There are concerns that are being raised about how the event space is like right now, or how the club scene is like right now. And there's a certain baby girl, Sandra Shiku, who shared something. And this was after the Mataha festival. I'll try quote a bit of what she said, and then we can have a conversation about it. Alikuwa anaandika, where did the Kikuyu boy child go to? Yesterday at the Mataha festival, something really hit me. I was standing there looking at the crowd, and I noticed a pattern that keeps repeating itself. And this is something that nobody wants to talk about. The crowd is mostly women. And honestly, good for them. They've been empowered, they're earning, and they can afford to show up. But where is the Kikuyu boy child? So in short, kwenye mabukla, kwenye the concerts nowadays, there's more women attending than men. Like, the men are nowhere to be seen. And honestly, the economy right now is quite tight and tough, but there's also been a lot of opinions about the fact that maybe baby girl amenempoweriwa sana, tunasahau umande kidogo. And I wanted us to have a conversation about that. Do you think that the boy child was not prepared for the empowered girl child? Do we just honestly forget about the boy child? Because the whole essence of empowerment was not to forget one gender at the expense of the other. It was just, just to make sure that at least we're kind of at par. Let me know what you think.
What happens when the woman becomes extremely empowered in a society? Clearly, degenerate behavior begins, and we begin to see a decline of that community. Because if the woman now chooses, kuna hii ideology that women always lead with their emotions. So if the woman becomes more empowered to the point that now she surpasses the man, clearly the society is going to decline, bana. And that is just my take on this story. The other thing nimeshtuka hapa hivi, this is actually Aziza. I am used to seeing Aziza with a full face of makeup. Inaka this time she has decided to embrace looking natural. Maybe she sees now that men are going back to factory settings and understand why men are actually even leaving these clubs. Because when you go to those clubs, tunajua what we are going to see. People just applying makeup. On the other hand, there is this sample of men who deal with women. These men who actually go to clubs, they know how to play their game. Ebu listen to this chick.
Boys wako amekuacha kwa nyumba tena. Amekwambia ameenda out na maboys. It's a boys night out, sindio? Hey, boys night out indeed. Let me tell you, watu wakishaenda out hivi wanachukua simu hadi wanasnap pamoja uone yenyewe maboys wako pamoja. Lazima akuweke evidence that wako na maboys. Hadi kwanza wakifika kwa club pombe zikishala ndio wanachukua pia video nyingine. Of course it's a night with the boys. Wanaharibu zaidi, anachukua simu hadi anaanza kuambia boys wake mmoja hapo akusalimia yeye, salimia mama. Unajua yeye hadi anachukua simu anasalimia the so mama. Lakini uliachwa kwa nyumba akaenda out na maboys. Mnaoshaamini juu hadi ashapea boys wake mmoja hapo akusalimia, si ndio? As soon as hizo simu zimewekelewa juu ya meza tu hivi, pia mademu hao wanaingia. Kunanga out na maboys yenye inanga wasichana. Hizo ni stories za jaba. Wasichana wengine wao pia wanakaa sasa. Kuna the real girls of the parties. Ule stories mwenye labda anatingisha kukuliko, huyo ndio ameitwa out. Nilikwambia hivi enda na wewe juu hana pesa, si ndio? Pesa ni kidogo mnajaribu kusave, lakini kuna msichana mwingine ako out na yeye as we are speaking akishaweka tu simu hivi juu ya meza kuna kasichana kengine kamekuingilia and they are going to enjoy the night and still come back and tell you they were out with the boys. Tunatingisha meza iliyokuwa na expensive drinks. Sorry.
The way this woman is speaking is trying to insinuate something. How do you know they didn't just get drinks and walked back home, or ordered an Uber back home? What are you trying to insinuate? A man cannot have female friends? Is that what she's trying to say? But if I'm being serious, there is no boys night out without women. The same way that there is no girls night out without men. Kwani, are they going to live in a vacuum? And if you are a group of people and you are behaving in some type of way, clearly you're going to attract the opposite gender. Hiyo ni no-brainer, ama? But the tactics, zenye zimesema hapo hivyo, this guy is using every rule in the playbook to make sure that Rada ni safi mtaani. Other than that, let me know what you think down in the comments below. Is the clubbing scene in Kenya actually deteriorating, or is it propaganda too? People are just holding their backs before they actually come out, because we know tuko kwa hizi miezi za November, December, September, October, and those months are known for heavy drinking, heavy partying in the Nairobi scene. Do you think clubbing is actually gone? Do you think it's dead, or this is just a way that these people are trying to market it so that we may talk about it and most people may go back into that market? Let me know what you think down in the comments below. YouTube says you might be interested in the video on your screen at the moment. Click on that video. I'm waiting to see you on the next one.